What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys haven't seen the last video, be sure to go back and check it out. We did some single cam turbo stuff right there. We unboxed a max pitting rod GT28 turbo adapted to a T3 manifold, and we built a downpipe for it. I built a turbo kit for a buddy of mine, and once it goes into a Civic, then we'll button up the rest of the turbo kit itself. But in today's video, we're gonna be working on my KRX. I've talked about it plenty of times since returning back from SoCal, hanging out with the homie Slimeball, that I wanted to address my cooling system in the KRX. So the new Spall fan showed up a couple days ago, and I've kind of pushed it off to the side to kind of do some other things, but it is ready to come up to the driveway so we can address it, so we can start driving it again comfortably. Not gonna lie to you guys, it's 4 o'clock because I've been waiting for the weather to die down a little bit, and it's still 90 degrees. You guys probably noticed in the last couple of videos I haven't been wearing my sweater, which you guys are used to seeing, and it's just been really hot. Realistically, it's just been really hot, and the fact that my canopy is still half missing, we're getting blazed down by the sun. But anyways, we got to do some work, so we got to deal with the weather, man. Let's go ahead and shuffle the cars here in the driveway so we can get cracking on the KRX cooling system. So the last time we tried the max pitting rod air jack, it wouldn't fit through the front bumper of the Civic wagon because it has a giant front lip on it. The KRX has a factory front lip, so I kind of want to try the 2 airbag and see if it'll slide underneath to jack up the car from the front. It hits the traction bar just a little bit. But it fits. Now, if you guys remember, using the air jack takes like 10 to 15 seconds to air the car up fully. And if you guys don't have an air compressor, like, you know, on the spot, setting up to use the air jack probably will take longer than using a regular floor jack. But because I have it here, easy peasy. Air jack didn't go all the way because the car is on the jack stands and the weight's not compressing the airbag. Right off the bat, I can smell the coolant from the car, and I'm glad that we're addressing this now. Never really noticed it before until that overheating situation we had in SoCal. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the front bumper, so that way we have access to the radiator. And we're obviously going to be entirely draining the cooling system, which is going to be from the lower radiator hose itself, because this radiator doesn't have a drain plug. Also, if you guys didn't know, there is a drain bolt on the water pump housing right there. You take that out, all the coolant will come straight out. So I'm letting the radiator drain all of the fluid out of it, and right off the rip you can see all of that little like coolant residuals. Blue coolant leaves white like residuals to kind of let you know where it's leaking from. So if you look right there, when I moved the KRX off the driveway, there was like a whole stream of coolant. So this thing was literally leaking as it was sitting, and has been sitting since we came back from SoCal, which was like 2.5 weeks ago, and it was leaking quite a bit than usual. So let me flip this thing over real quick. Should be all drained out-ish kind of. And if you look right there, coolant's coming from somewhere. So one of you guys sent this over to the PO box when I first built this car 5 years ago, and it literally said in the notes that it has a pinhole somewhere. Somewhere is right there, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna send it. So I used it, and I didn't have any visual, like visibly seen coolant leaks. I literally just made that whole sentence up, but I didn't see any coolant leaks when I ran this the first time, and all of the years in between. And after the overheating situation, now it's literally just pissing out coolant. And I never addressed it before because the car really never gave me a major problem. Now, if you guys have K series in your car and you see that it sits in the low 200s, that's completely normal. I think H series read a little hot as well too, or runs a little hot as well too, but low 200s is normal for a K. Now I prefer it to be a little cooler, right? And mind you, I've had the glow shift gauge in the car for quite some times now, right there on the dashboard, and it always told me, it always showed me like 175 to 190 when it runs hot. And then after the overheating issue in SoCal, I then realized after using the Bluetooth, it was like 20 to 30 degrees off. So when it was reading 190 on the external gauge, it was reading like 220-ish on the Hyundai app, and that's, I don't know, I'm a little skeptical about it. So after doing some reading and some experience with these little tiny ass fans throughout the year, especially on the H2B CRX where I use that drag style CSF radiator, these little fans, they are definitely not efficient, especially because these 7.5-inch fan only draw 500 CFM, and the new Chase Bay radiators come with 10-inch fans which draw 800 to 900 CFM. So all of these years I've been running these little guys, and I felt like, you know, it wasn't crazy, noticeably, you know, hot when I'm running the car. It's probably because this thing sits up in the front bumper like an intercooler, so the air gets direct flow to the radiator, and again, never really had an issue. But now we have an issue, and I want to address it. So this core is 10 by 20, which is still the same as the one that Chase Bay offers on their website now with the 10-inch fan. So I figured because the core is 10 by 20, I'd get two 10-inch fans, which would be, you know, 10 in height and 20 across. I think the fans are 11 with, like, you know, the edges, but we can always trim that. And if you guys don't know, Spall fan has a flat spot on 2 sides of the fan, so it kind of slims it down. I'll show you guys when I open the package, but I want to really figure out where this pin of leak is coming from. So I'm going to clean all this up really quickly. I ordered the fans, and I don't think I ordered the fan installation kit. And if you guys look at this, this is literally just 2 zip ties to install my fan. That's the first part, and then here's the second part. It ain't dumb if it works. I don't see any lighting through a pinhole anywhere. Okay, well, this is pretty tight. Pretty tight, but if you look at the seals, they're kind of shot. I could take it off and leave the seal on it, but Honda bond it maybe. It didn't show any signs that it was leaking from here. All the coolant residuals were coming off the core itself and then drizzling underneath the radiator, right? But I'm probably gonna Honda bond that anyways. I can't seem to pinpoint where the leak would be coming from. So what I'm probably gonna do is fill it up with water and then, I don't know, rig up something to pressure test it, I guess, to kind of see if we can force the water to come out. I do have a Speed Factory tucked radiator. If you guys remember, we bought the silver sedan, and it's right here. But I don't want to use it because it has -16 hoses on it, and this one's actually welded on. And I do have all of the fill neck and stuff adapters for the -16, but I don't have any hoses. And it is already shrouded up for 10-inch fans, which I also have right there and right here, right? But I don't think I want to run this radiator, you know, just because of the -16s. I did not expect that. What the fuck? I was literally just trying to stick the nozzle in there and then like hold my hand on the the outlet just to kind of pressurize it, and I squeezed the freaking trigger and blew the freaking goddamn cooling system all over me, dude. This thing is all over my freaking clothes, my pants. Yeah, this radiator squirted on me, bro. My compressor puts out 100 on the regulator, and I'm thinking this is 100 going into the radiator. You can see the bottom hose right here kind of moving around as I press the air, and I don't see any leaks whatsoever. And I know there's a lot of air going in it because I can feel the hose bulging as I'm pressing it. And I've already tried this on the opposite side. The water is about halfway up. So I tested it on the bottom to see if any of these fins right here were leaking, and then I flipped it around to test the bottom side. Again, the water is like halfway up. So if there was a leak, it would have pissed through, right? In theory. Not seeing anything. Guys, I've been on the phone for like an hour or two talking to the homies and trying to figure out like my situation with the radiator, right? So some things that I just learned. I put 100 psi through the radiator and it's not leaking other than from the hose, like right here. No leaks. The radiator's still full, right? Because I added more and it's been sitting here. The table is dry. There's nothing leaking whatsoever from the radiator. And I was talking to the homie and he was like, maybe it's like a, you know, something moving, something like that. And he was talking about the radiator cap. And yeah, radiator cap does move, right? So I was kind of enlightened on this just a little bit. 1.4 bar. 1 bar is 14 pounds. 0.4 probably make it about 20. And he was saying that maybe because I ran this thing, you know, low on coolant when I was in LA, and you know, I ran it in the 230, 240 plus, it probably built up more than 20 psi and burst out of the cap. And it did, because the whole entire engine bay was like white residuals from coolant. And I was like, oh yeah, I was sitting here talking about it, and then I was like playing with this, and this is like super duper loose. And he goes, this might be your issue as well too, because this shouldn't be loose, right? And I was like, huh, because it was all white as well too. And mind you, before I parked the KRX, after I cleaned the engine bay, this was full. Now it's like minimum, it's like way down there, right? So where's my coolant going, you may ask? I don't know. So I called him originally because I was like running him through the scenario, and I was like, should I just put the radiator back in the car? Because this thing has not given me an issue in the last 5 years. And all the coolant stuff that's been going on is literally after I overheated it in LA. But mind you, it drove up perfectly fine. It's just now I see coolant leaks on the floor after not driving it. It's like raising the eyebrow, whatever half eyebrow that I have. But I think we're just gonna throw the radiator back in, and we might switch the cap back to like a factory style, like 1.2, 1.3. The Jackson Racing one has been doing its job, and I have this in the other car as well that has not given me any issues, and it's like literally brand new still. The seals are good, the pressure here still feels good. But for now we're just gonna rock it because that's all I have. And I might continue this tomorrow because the sun's already down, the bugs are out, and I still got to figure out what I'm gonna do with the fan, how to mount it, if I need a shroud or whatever the case is. I don't think I will, but I guess we'll test fit all that tomorrow and see what it do. So I messed up yesterday. I was trying to take off the fittings right here and RTV the O-ring and then reinstall it so it can dry overnight. But this one came off no problems. This one got stuck halfway, so I had a big crescent wrench on it, and I was trying to, you know, break it loose. And with aluminum, once you strip it, it's toasted. So this thing was like, I'm talking about, I put it on the floor and I was stepping on the crescent wrench to break this thing loose, and it doesn't move. So just to show you guys, you can see how this one is sitting a little taller than the other one over there. That's because it wouldn't even thread back in. So I had no choice but to just weld the bung straight onto the end tanks here, and hopefully that's sealed up. It is what it is. But anyways, let's get into the fan. So this right here I got off of Amazon, 2 10-inch fan. They supposedly draw 800, almost 900 CFM. I'm gonna show it to you guys in a second here. Be sure to cut away from yourself, not towards yourself. This is interesting. It didn't even come with the Spall boxes, but hopefully it's true Spall. I honestly don't even know if there are fake Spall fans out there. Let me know if you guys know of some fake ones that are, you know, pretty close looking to the actual Spall fans itself. So right here you guys can see Spall sticker, right? And then the other biggest thing is right here, it says Spall right on the housing, right? So anyways, 2 10-inch Spall fans. I mentioned in the earlier clips that the fan itself is a 10-inch, but it's like 11 in total because of the little skirts right here. But on both sides of the fan, there's this little like flat spot right? So hopefully that's a true 10, so it doesn't exceed the size of the core. Oh yeah, that is perfect. Check this out. You guys see this little flat spot right there? Lines up perfectly on the core on both sides. Now if I flipped it the other way, it'll overhang a little bit, right? So it's cool that they did that. But here we go. That's one 10-inch fan, and then here is the second one. Okay, a little bit wider. So these two tiny little fans, they sound strong, but I feel like it's because of how small they are, and it's creating like a high-pitched noise. And I feel like the amount of air it draws is not much, just because of how tiny these little fins are, right? I'm gonna switch over to the big fan here, and this is just one. It doesn't sound as loud, but it does draw a ton more air. Look at my shirt. All right guys, so we have the fans installed. Check this out, pretty secured. Now I did mention about the flat part being on the top, right? But I felt like the fan was kicked out too far on the ends with the flat end on the top, so I flipped it around. The overhang is not much, it's literally like less than 1/4 of an inch, and the reason why I did that is because it aligned the holes to mount the fan to the protective cover right here. And what I did was I slit the cover where it landed in the hole to pull it up, to use that as the tab to mount the fan. I just drilled and tapped it right here, right, and use factory 10mm bolts. Right now we're about to put these suckers back into the car, but before I do, I'm going to figure out the wiring system for this, and I'm going to try to wire it up to the factory fan over here. What I need to do is I need to trace these two wires back to make sure that they are going back to the ECU where they're supposed to go, and then we'll use those. If not, I do still have my standalone one right here that has a relay inside the car. So guys, I've been at this for an hour now trying to figure out why the relay system and the factory wiring system won't turn the fan on. I did turn the car on to get it up to 120 to see if we can kick the fan on, and with the factory and the relay setup, both of it doesn't work. And I remembered on the 88 silver sedan, the wire for the fan relay wasn't connected, so I went down here to check real quick, and sure enough, there is no wire for the fan relay. So on this plug for the SI model, there's this yellow green stripe right here. This is the factory wiring harness, and that's the fan relay signal. On the conversion harness, there's only the reverse guys, but no fan relay signal, which is right here where my thumb's at. So this is supposed to go to B6, which is this green wire right here, which is this green wire down here that goes to B6. and like I said, there's nothing there. So even when I triggered the K Pro to come on at 120, I did turn the car on. It might have sent signal through, but it's not going anywhere because there is no wire here. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I'm gonna go ahead and wire it in, double check, and if it works, we'll button up the fan wiring system. All right, guys, so guys, the wind picked up out of nowhere, and I've been trying to diag the factory fan wire. All right, guys, so guys, the wind picked up like, so guys, the wind picked up, and I was just trying to I thought I got the factory fan wiring system figured out, but it still doesn't work. I've changed the fan setting from 100 to 120 to 130 to 140. I didn't want to get any hotter because the radiator wasn't installed, and no matter what I did, the fan didn't turn on. So I checked underneath the dashboard at the fuse box. The fuse was actually not even there for the fan, so I put that in, still didn't change anything. I tried to trace the wiring back, and it was kind of hard to do because the fan relay is actually sitting right here, so I would have to take off the fender to trace the wiring back. And I did run that wire from the conversion harness to the B6 on the ECU, still wasn't working. So I decided to just abandon that project and figure it out for a later day. 5 years I've been running it on a standalone relay system, and I decided to just put it back together the way it has always been. So the radiator, coolant, fans, wiring, I actually did a new relay because I found out that the relay that's inside the car that comes to this wire isn't giving enough power to the fan, if that makes sense. Because when I ran the relay up in the front here and ran the power source directly to the alternator instead of the fuse box, which is the one that's inside the car, the fan pulls much harder with direct 12-volt source. So I did another relay setup right here, and the fans are kicking on pretty freaking strong. So right now I'm going to turn the car on, just let it bleed the cooling system, and then turn the fan on, make sure everything works like it's supposed to, and then I'll put the T-bar and the bumper and everything back on. So coolant's already in it. Let's fire this thing up. Also, I took off the glow shift gauge sensor and I put it right here. It used to be right here, and I swapped it over just so that it can be in the same passage as the ECT sensor that sends signal back to the ECU. So that way it's not, you know, 20-30 degrees different reading between the gauge and the ECU or the Honda app. So I moved it over here. Hopefully it doesn't leak. There is no idle air control valve, so this thing is going to take a little while to warm up, but let's see what it does. Man, these fans are working. They are working. So before I kick the fan on, the temperature between the glow shift and the app was only 10 degrees off. So when this was 170, this was 180. So 10 degrees off is definitely better than being 20-30 degrees off it was before, because the temp sensor was on the radiator. Now it's on the cylinder head, kind of in line with the factory ECT sensor. So That's good. It's good to know. I know that the sensor is cooling off faster because it's in front of the fan. So this is cooling a lot faster than this thing cooling off, because this is like towards the exhaust manifold side. But I'm happy with that. Boy, is it hot today. Now, I was wearing these sleeves because I was welding the aluminum, and I don't want to burn any more of my hand. So I got this scar from the heat gun. I got this one from welding the downpipe on the GT28. And then this one was with the grinder in the other vlog. But anyways, guys, I was listening to the car warm up and those fans working at full potential. And I kind of felt like 2 10-inch fans might be overkill. But then I remembered Hush Performance sells the Sirocco radiator with 2 10-inch fan optional if you really wanted to. 2 Mishimoto fans, I think it was. And you know, I feel like if this car is going to get thrashed, like say on the track again, whenever that happens, I feel like the 2 fans are going to help out a lot. Although with the 2 7.5 fans that was on it before, when I tracked it at Sonoma, I didn't have any temp issues whatsoever. But we're just going to rock with it and see what those 2 fans do, especially because it's been getting hot here lately, or late summer, if you will. But we got the new fans installed. We have a new relay system that is giving, you know, the fans full power instead of, you know, using what I had in the car before, which I feel might have not worked those 7.5-inch fan at full potential. But you know, at the end of the day, we got it sorted out now. So hopefully tomorrow we don't see any coolant leaks on the floor, because we didn't really pinpoint it. We did weld up those fittings on the radiator itself. I took off the O-rings, and hopefully this wasn't a point of leakage, but I guess we'll figure that out tomorrow. The car is still up on jack stands. The bumper and everything put back in is because I still need to adjust the oil pan. I want to pop the oil pan off. I want to reseal it, and I still need to go buy oil. I'm not sure if I want to try to tackle the subframe along with the oil pan as well too, but I got to see like if I have any material to plate it, or if I could try to do it in the engine bay, or if I need to drop the header and drop the subframe and all that. I'm really not looking forward to that kind of work, but I guess we'll kind of figure it out as we go while the car is still up in jack stand. So as far as this video goes, we did what we needed to do. I took longer than I was supposed to. I wanted to do some other things in this video, but we kind of ran out of time here in the last 2 days. Technically, if you put it together, the hours I've been in the garage working on the KRX is about 1 day worth of work. But anyways, we did what we wanted to do. Hopefully the KRX is good to drive again, but we're gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up, and if you guys want to stick around for some more progress update on the 88 silver sedan, unless this EM1 comes in first, because the turbo manifold and the wastegate, the 2 last thing I need, is on the way. If you guys want to stick around for some EM1 content, maybe be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Subscribe button, man. My words are messed up. Subscribe. Anyways, peace.